In this part of the lesson, we will be looking at exceptions to the rule that nouns and adjectives from the same declension will have the same endings. The first exception has to do with the fact that the third declension nominative singular forms may look different between the noun and adjective because of the many various nominative forms of a third declension noun. Let's take a look at some examples. The first noun that we're going to be working with is rex regis, a third declension masculine noun that means king. The nominative singular form is rex. The first adjective that we're going to describe rex with is acer, acris, acre. It means fierce. Acer is the form that is used to describe rex because acer is nominative and singular and masculine, just like rex. The next adjective that we will use to describe rex is omnis, omne. It is also from third declension. This adjective means all or every. To make the adjective all or every describe rex, we will write omnis. Omnis is in the singular, nominative, and masculine form, just like rex is, and that's why they are able to describe each other, even though they do not look the same. The next adjective we will use is felix, felicis. It is from third declension and means happy or lucky. To make this adjective describe rex, we must make sure to use the masculine, nominative, and singular form, which is felix. I want to emphasize that even though acer, omnis, and felix may not look exactly the same as rex, they are all describing rex because they each have the same gender, masculine, case, nominative, and number, singular, as rex, the noun they are describing. Now let's take a look at the noun mater, matris, a third declension feminine noun in the nominative form, mater, to see what the adjectives will look like when they are used to describe mater. Once again, we notice that the adjectives acer, acris, acre, omnis, omne, and felix, felicis have nominative singular forms that do not look the same as mater. But that doesn't matter because mater, which is in the nominative form, is being described by three adjectives, acris, omnis, and felix, which are also in the nominative form and are singular and feminine, just like mater is. Let's take a look at our next example, miles, militis, soldier, a third declension masculine noun. Let's see what the adjectives will look like when they describe miles in its nominative singular form. Once again, notice that the adjectives acer, omnis, and felix do not look the same as miles. However, they are still describing miles because they have the same gender, masculine, the same case, nominative, and the same number, singular, as miles. Now let's take a look at our final example, the noun flumen, fluminous, which is also from third declension, but is a neuter noun. Its nominative form is flumen. What will the adjectives look like as they describe the noun flumen? So this is our final example. We can see, just as in all the previous examples, that the noun flumen is being described by forms of the adjectives that do not look the same as flumen does. Nevertheless, the adjectives which are written are describing flumen because they share the same gender as flumen, neuter, the same case as flumen, nominative, and the same gender as numen, singular. Now let's take a look at the second exception to the rule. This exception is a little bit easier and says that when we are describing a third declension noun in the ablative singular form, the adjective, instead of ending with the letter E, will end with the letter I. Take a look at the examples and see what I mean. In each of these examples, the noun is in the ablative singular form. That's why it ends with the letter E. But the adjectives, which are also written in the ablative singular form, end with the letter I. That's the exception. Now let's move on to our third exception. In our third example of the third declension adjective ending looking different from the third declension noun ending, we'll be focusing on the genitive plural. The genitive plural ending for a third declension adjective is 3 letters, IUM, instead of the 2 letters that we see for the third declension nouns, just the letter UM. Let's check out the examples. Notice in all of these examples that the third declension noun has the genitive plural ending of um, but every adjective has the genitive plural of ium. That's the difference. Now, on to our fourth exception. This fourth exception deals exclusively with third declension neuter nouns in the nominative and accusative plural. The noun ending is the letter A, always, for the nominative and accusative plural of neuter nouns. But for third declension nouns being described by third declension adjectives, the adjective ending will not be the letter A, but the letter IA. Check out the examples with me. Did you notice in each of these examples that the noun ends with the letter A, but the adjective ends with IA? That's what makes it an exception to the rule. And now on to the final exception. This final exception deals with first declension nouns that are masculine. Instead of being described with adjectives that have first declension noun endings, they will be described by adjectives that use second declension masculine endings. Check out the examples. Now let's try some practice to see if you can apply the exceptions to the rule.